"They're merely human," remarked the Galactic Council, a decision that would soon prove to be a catastrophic oversight. "They're merely human," scoffed High Counselor Vex Aaron, his 6 appendages waving dismissively at the holographic projection. Barely 2 centuries into space exploration, rudimentary propulsion technology, a limited grasp of quantum mechanics. As junior observer for the Galactic Council's Expansion Committee, I shifted uneasily in my hover seat. It wasn't my place to challenge the High Counselor, but these humans presented a concerning anomaly. "With all due respect, High Counselor," I interjected, "their technological advancement curve is atypical." Vex Aaron's upper eye stalk rotated towards me, silencing the chamber. 28 council members from across the galaxy focused their diverse sensory organs on my embarrassingly small form. "Atypical how, Junior Observer Pyatt?" Vex Aaron's voice was dripping with condescension. "Please, enlighten the council with your extensive experience of 73 cycles." Nervous laughter rippled through the room. I resisted the urge to retreat into my protective shell, but I had data to support my concerns. "Their developmental pattern deviates from any known species profile," I explained, inputting commands into my neural interface. The holographic display changed to show a comparative analysis. Most species require 400 to 600 cycles to progress from combustion engines to basic space travel. Humans accomplished it in under 70. "So, they're fast learners," interrupted Counselor ZTH Raw of the Mayan Collective. "That hardly qualifies as a threat." "It's not just speed," I continued, highlighting another chart. "It's their rate of adaptation. Every time they've faced a setback, they've not only rebounded but advanced significantly. Their history is punctuated by devastating wars, yet each conflict accelerated their technological development exponentially." "Are you suggesting we perceive them as a threat?" Vex Aaron's tone was incredulous. "They haven't even unified their own planet. Half their landmass remains under the control of competing governments. They lack a centralized military command structure." "That's another irregularity," I said, feeling more confident. "Most species achieve space travel only after achieving planetary unity. Humans have done so despite persistent political fragmentation." Ambassador Quell of the Trial Harmony raised a luminescent tentacle. "Junior Observer, what precisely are you suggesting?" "The humans inhabit an insignificant area of the Orion Arm. Their system holds a negligible strategic value." I took a deep breath. "I recommend we reconsider the quarantine directive. Current policy limits our monitoring to passive observation posts outside their detection range. I believe we should establish closer surveillance." The chamber erupted in protests. "Preposterous. A waste of resources. They don't even possess reliable faster-than-light travel." Vex Aaron silenced the uproar with a wave of his primary limbs. "Junior Observer Pyatt clearly has an unhealthy obsession with this species. Perhaps an excess of human entertainment broadcasts has clouded your judgment." More laughter followed. "The quarantine directive remains," Vex Aaron declared. "The humans will continue to be classified as a Category 3 pre-integration species. Standard monitoring protocols will continue. This matter is closed." I knew better than to argue further, but as the council moved on to discuss trade disputes in the Cygnus sector, I couldn't shake my apprehension. 3 cycles later, my concerns would be validated in the worst possible way. "We've lost contact with Observation Post Sigma 12, announced Director Krell, her usually composed features contorted with concern. I looked up from my monitoring station. Sigma 12 was our closest observation post to Earth, disguised as an asteroid in their outer solar system. "Technical malfunction?" I suggested, though I already suspected a more dire situation. "Negative. We received a partial emergency transmission before communications were severed," she hesitated. "They reported an unidentified vessel approaching at high velocity. Non-Galactic Council configuration." My scales prickled with alarm. "Human?" "Unknown, but the trajectory originated from Earth's direction." Within hours, emergency meetings were convened across the Galactic Council network. After centuries of peace, bureaucratic machinery slowly creaked back to life. Military protocols, long dormant, were hesitantly reactivated. "This is absurd," declared High Counselor Vex Aaron during an emergency session. "Even if humans somehow detected Sigma-12, they lack the capability to reach it so quickly. Their fastest recorded vessels would require months to travel that distance." "The evidence indicates otherwise," countered Admiral Jorex of the Council Defense Force, a grizzled Awan whose species had fought the last galactic war 4 centuries ago. "Something destroyed Sigma-12, and it wasn't a natural phenomenon." "Perhaps another species," suggested Ambassador Quell. "The KXN Empire has been unusually silent recently." I cleared my throat. "Our long-range scans detected unusual energy signatures near Earth 3 months ago, consistent with experimental propulsion testing. I filed Report X4-2897B about it." "Which was deemed inconclusive," snapped Vex Aaron. "Because we lacked close-range observation data," I replied, more forcefully than intended. "Which we could have had with enhanced monitoring." Admiral Jorex's compound eyes flicked towards me with renewed interest. "What type of propulsion signatures?" "Consistent with gravitational distortion. Theoretical faster-than-light potential." A heavy silence descended upon the chamber. "Impossible," someone whispered. "We've lost contact with observation post Sigma-14 and Sigma-9, announced a communications officer, rushing into the chamber. "Same pattern, unidentified vessels approaching at high velocity, then nothing." Admiral Jorex rose to his full, imposing height. "I'm implementing Defense Protocol Alpha. All non-essential Council personnel will evacuate to secure facilities. Defense Force fleets will mobilize immediately." "This is an overreaction," protested Vex Aaron. 3 observation posts losing contact could be coincidental. Technical failures. Cosmic phenomena. The chamber's main display activated, showing a priority transmission. A breathless monitoring officer appeared. "Multiple vessels detected approaching Proxima Centauri colony. Configuration unknown. They are not responding to hails." The first official Galactic Council colony in the vicinity of Earth housed over 40,000 citizens from 12 member species. It had been established with the assumption that humans wouldn't develop interstellar travel for at least another century. "How long until they reach the colony?" demanded Admiral Jorex. "They're already there," replied the officer, his voice trembling. "Emergence from faster-than-light travel detected directly in system." Another officer rushed in. "We've got visual." The display shifted to show grainy footage from the colony's orbital defenses. Sleek vessels with predatory lines hung against the blackness of space, dozens of them. Their design was unlike anything in Council records, but the markings were unmistakable: United Earth Defense Force. "They're merely human," Vex Aaron had said. As alarms blared throughout the Council citadel, I realized with absolute clarity, we had severely underestimated Earth. "All ships, maintain formation. Weapons hot, but hold fire unless fired upon." Admiral Elena Takahashi's voice carried across the bridge of the UES Defiant with calm authority. The flagship of Earth's first deep space battle group gleamed with newness, its systems humming with power that would have been theoretical just 5 years prior. I watched this transmission with growing horror from the safety of the Council Emergency Command Center. I'd been unexpectedly promoted from junior observer to senior analyst due to my unique insights into human behavior. In reality, I was the only one who'd bothered to study them seriously. "They've breached our most secure systems," muttered Director Krell, watching alongside me. "How did they intercept classified Galactic Council communications?" On screen, we could see the human bridge crew moving with practiced efficiency. Their expressions showed tension, but not fear. "The Proxima colony is hailing us again," reported a human officer. Admiral Takahashi nodded. "Put them through, Lieutenant Patel." The screen split to show Governor Zills, the colony administrator. His gelatinous form quivered with barely controlled panic. "Unidentified vessels, you have entered Galactic Council space without authorization. State your intentions immediately. Admiral Takahashi's expression remained neutral. Governor Zills, this is Admiral Elena Takahashi of the United Earth Defense Force. We know who you are. We know you've been watching us. The observation posts disguised as asteroids? Not as stealthy as you thought. Watching from the command center, I felt a chill travel down my spinal ridge. The humans had known about our observation network. For how long? Your presence in Earth's stellar neighborhood constitutes an undeclared surveillance operation against a sovereign species, continued Takahashi. Under normal circumstances, this would be considered an act of aggression. Aggression? Sputtered Governor Zills. The Galactic Council has maintained peaceful observation of pre-integration species for millennia. This is standard protocol. Takahashi's lips curved in what humans call a smile, but it contained no warmth. Funny thing about being observed without consent, Governor. It makes people nervous. Especially when the observers possess technology capable of obliterating our civilization. We would never, began Zills. Save it, interrupted Takahashi. We've decoded enough of your transmissions to know the truth. You've been watching us, categorizing us, deciding our fate without our knowledge or input. Director Krell gasped beside me. They've broken our encryption. I didn't share her surprise. My reports had consistently highlighted human achievements in mathematics and computer science. On screen, Governor Zills was floundering. These accusations are baseless. The Council observes species to determine readiness for contact. It's for your own protection. Is that what you told the Zenari? Asked Takahashi. Silence fell across both the colony communication and our command center. The Zenari incident was classified at the highest level, a promising species whose development had taken an aggressive turn, requiring intervention. How could they possibly know about that? Whispered Director Krell. I had a theory, but it was too terrifying to voice. Admiral Takahashi leaned forward. We are not here to threaten you, Governor. Consider this a formal introduction. Earth is now an interstellar power, whether the Galactic Council recognizes us or not. You destroyed our observation posts, used. Earth's fleet reveals itself at Proxima Colony. Zills, we neutralized surveillance equipment illegally monitoring our civilization, corrected Takahashi. No personnel were harmed. They are currently enjoying Earth's hospitality while we debrief them. You've taken Council citizens prisoner. Zill's color shifted to a dangerous crimson. We've extended diplomatic protection to visitors in our system who lacked proper authorization. They will be returned safely once we have established formal diplomatic relations with the Council. The implications were staggering. Humans hadn't just discovered faster-than-light travel, they'd reverse-engineered enough of our technology to detect, neutralize, and capture our observation posts without casualties. The Council will never negotiate with aggressors, declared Zills. Takahashi's expression hardened. We are not the aggressors here, Governor. But make no mistake, Earth will not be quarantined, classified, or controlled. We are prepared to defend our sovereignty. As if on cue, more human ships emerged from faster-than-light corridors around the colony, dozens, then hundreds. A show of force that sent panic cascading through the command center. Impossible, someone murmured. Their industrial capacity couldn't produce such a fleet. But I knew better. Human history was filled with examples of astonishing production when unified by a common purpose. During their Second World War, one nation had transformed from minimal military capability to producing a bomber aircraft every hour. Admiral Takahashi seemed to read our collective thoughts. You're wondering how we built so many ships so quickly. That's the thing about humans. Tell us something's impossible, and we take it as a challenge. In our command center, Admiral Jorex had seen enough. Initiate emergency response. Deploy the 7th Fleet to Proxima Centauri immediately. Sir, I interjected, that could be perceived as an escalation. It's already an escalation, snapped Jorex. They have surrounded our colony. With respect, Admiral, if the humans wanted conflict, they could have attacked without warning. They're making a statement, not initiating hostilities. Jorex's compound eyes narrowed. And what statement is that, Analyst Pyatt? That they won't be ignored. That they demand recognition. On screen, Admiral Takahashi was concluding her message. We will maintain position while your government considers our terms. We expect a response within 72 Earth hours. Takahashi out. The transmission ended, leaving the command center in stunned silence. Councillor Vex Aaron, who had been uncharacteristically quiet, finally spoke. What, exactly, do they want? I brought up the human transmission data. They've sent a formal diplomatic package. The core demands are straightforward: recognition of Earth as a sovereign interstellar power, a non-interference agreement regarding Earth's development, and access to Galactic Council technological databases. Preposterous, sputtered Vex Aaron. We can't grant a pre-integration species access to advanced technology. I don't believe they're asking for permission, I noted quietly. They're offering an exchange. Their transmission includes scientific data on several fronts that our researchers have been struggling with for centuries. Director Krell reviewed the data, her eyes widening. This is remarkable. They've solved theoretical problems in quantum mechanics that we've been working on for generations. A primitive species doesn't just leap from planetary travel to faster-than-light capabilities, insisted Vex Aaron. Someone must have aided them, provided technology. Or perhaps, I suggested carefully, we fundamentally misunderstood humans from the beginning. But as the Council debated its response, I couldn't help but wonder, what else had we missed about humanity? And, more importantly, what would they do if we refused their demands? The Galactic Council chamber had never been so crowded. Representatives. Admiral Takahashi's ultimatum. From all 342 member species packed the tiered seating, their varied physiologies creating a tapestry of forms, colors, and sounds. The humans would have called it alien. I called it Tuesday at the office, except this particular Tuesday might determine the fate of galactic civilization as we knew it. Order. I will have order, bellowed High Counselor Vex Aaron, his voice amplification system barely cutting through the cacophony of frightened delegates. I sat with the analyst team, frantically processing new data as it arrived. The human fleet had grown to over 700 vessels, now positioned at strategic points throughout Earth's stellar neighborhood. They hadn't fired a single shot, but their message was clear: the quarantine was over. The Defense Force cannot guarantee protection of all Council territories if hostilities commence, Admiral Jorex was saying, his tactical displays showing the disposition of our forces. Our fleets are dispersed across too wide an area. If the humans possess faster-than-light capabilities superior to our own, they could strike anywhere. But they're just one species, from one planet, protested Councillor ZTH Raw. How could they possibly threaten the combined might of 342 civilizations? Because they're not building conventional weapons, I interjected, earning glares for speaking out of turn. But the data on my screen couldn't wait for proper protocol. New analysis of their ship configuration suggests they are not designed primarily as war vessels. Admiral Jorex raised a skeptical eyebrow ridge. Explain. I projected my findings onto the main display. Their energy outputs are inconsistent with weapons systems we understand. They appear to be focused on gravitational manipulation, on a massive scale. Meaning what, exactly, demanded Vex Aaron. Director Krell, who had been reviewing my analysis, answered for me. Meaning they could potentially create localized space-time distortions as offensive measures. In simple terms, asked Ambassador Quell. They could, theoretically, alter the fabric of reality as a weapon. Stunned silence fell across the chamber. That's impossible, someone finally said. 3 weeks ago, we thought human faster-than-light travel was impossible, I reminded them. Yet here we are. Even if true, surely they wouldn't risk such technology, reasoned Vex Aaron, with the potential for catastrophic failure? That's exactly what makes humans unique, I interrupted. Their history demonstrates a remarkable willingness to embrace risk when they feel threatened. Their greatest technological leaps came when they believed their survival was at stake. And they believe we threaten their survival? Preposterous, scoffed Vexen. With respect, High Counselor, we have been monitoring them without their knowledge and consent, determining their future without their input, classifying them. From their perspective, we are the aliens their entertainment has warned them about for centuries. Before further debate could ensue, the chamber's main display flickered to life. An unauthorized transmission was cutting through our strongest security protocols. Admiral Takahashi's face appeared before the entire council. Greetings, representatives of the Galactic Council. I apologize for the dramatic entrance, but your communication system architecture has some fascinating vulnerabilities. Vex Aaron sputtered in outrage. This is an outrageous breach of. Save it, Takahashi cut him off. You've had 3 days to consider our proposal. Your time is up. I watched with a mixture of horror and admiration. The humans had hacked the most secure communication system in the galaxy as casually as if they were ordering coffee. We have reviewed your private deliberations, continued Takahashi, causing gasps throughout the chamber. Your threat assessments, your strategic planning, your dismissive characterizations of humanity. Vex Aaron's color darkened with rage. You dare spy on the Galactic Council? Ironic, coming from you, isn't it? Takahashi's smile was razor-sharp. Let me be clear, Earth has no interest in conflict. We simply refuse to be treated. The Council's emergency session. As primitives. We have earned our place among the stars. By threatening peaceful civilizations, challenged Admiral Jorex. By demonstrating capability, corrected Takahashi. A concept your military understands well. Admiral Jorex. You've advocated for increased defense spending in 12 consecutive council sessions, citing the need for credible deterrence even in peacetime. Jorex's compound eyes widened in surprise. The humans had clearly studied our political dynamics thoroughly. What do you really want? Asked Director Krell, cutting through the posturing. Takahashi nodded appreciatively at her directness. Partnership, not subjugation. Knowledge exchange, not technological handouts. And recognition of a fundamental truth: humanity will not follow your predetermined evolutionary path. You expect us to simply accept your demands, under threat? Demanded Vex Aaron. I expect you to recognize reality, replied Takahashi. Earth's development doesn't match your models because your models are flawed. They presume a linear progression that doesn't account for our greatest strength. Which is? Asked Ambassador Quell, genuinely curious. The diversity of thought. Competition of ideas. Most spacefaring species achieve unity first, then technological advancement. We did it backward. Our competing nations, ideologies, and approaches created an evolutionary pressure cooker for innovation. I couldn't help myself. That's precisely what my reports have suggested for years. Camera drones swiveled to focus on me. I immediately regretted speaking. Analyst Pyatt, I presume? Takahashi's expression softened slightly. Your assessment of human developmental psychology was remarkably insightful. We found it quite valuable when planning this operation. I felt the stares of the entire council. You read my reports? All 247 of them. Your pattern recognition skills are exceptional. In fact, we'd like to offer you a position as a cultural liaison, should these negotiations succeed. Before I could respond, Vex Aaron cut in. This farce has gone on long enough. The council does not negotiate under duress. If Takahashi sighed, then perhaps a demonstration is in order. On the tactical display, one of the human vessels separated from formation. It accelerated to faster-than-light velocity, then vanished. What are they doing? Muttered Admiral Jorex, studying the readings. Seconds later, alarms blared throughout the council citadel. Unidentified vessel detected, shouted a security officer. It's here, directly outside council headquarters. Impossible. The Citadel orbited a neutron star, thousands of light-years from Earth. Even with advanced faster-than-light technology, the journey should take hours, not seconds. On screen, Takahashi remained calm. The UES, Prometheus, has just demonstrated our quantum fold drive capabilities. A single ship can traverse the galaxy in moments. Every vessel in our fleet possesses this technology. The implications were staggering. Such mobility rendered traditional space defense strategies obsolete. The Promethean carries no weapons, continued Takahashi. This isn't a threat, but a reminder: your technological advantage is no longer absolute. We can meet as equals, or not at all. The chamber erupted in panicked discussions. Species that had enjoyed the security of technological superiority for millennia were suddenly confronting a new reality. In the chaos, I noticed something odd about the human ship's energy signature. It wasn't maintaining position through conventional means. It was somehow anchored to spacetime itself, immune to the neutron star's gravitational pull. "They've solved gravitational decoupling," I whispered to Director Krell. "That's what they meant by reality manipulation." Krell's eyes widened. "If they can selectively ignore fundamental demonstration of Earth's quantum fold drive forces, they could theoretically alter gravity within a planetary atmosphere, disrupt energy fields, perhaps even influence the rate of time passage within a localized area." Takahashi, seemingly aware of our conversation, nodded slightly. "You're beginning to understand. These capabilities aren't weapons by design, but tools for exploration. However, like any advanced technology, applications are flexible." High Counselor Vex Aaron, seeing his authority crumbling, made one last stand. "The Council will not be dictated to by one species, from one planet." Takahashi finished for him. "That single-minded dismissal is precisely why we are having this conversation, Counselor. You categorized us, underestimated us, and now you are struggling to comprehend us." She leaned forward, her voice hardening. "Earth doesn't want war. We don't want dominance. We want recognition, partnership, a seat at the table we didn't know existed until recently." For the first time, I saw genuine uncertainty in Vex Aaron's expression. The political reality was shifting beneath his feet. "Perhaps," ventured Ambassador Quell, always the diplomat, "we should consider a special session to discuss the humans' proposal in detail." Murmurs of agreement spread through the chamber. Even the most conservative council members were recognizing the new reality. "A wise suggestion," agreed Takahashi. "We will withdraw our vessels to a respectful distance during your deliberations. But know this: Earth will not return to isolation. The stars are our birthright, too." As the transmission ended, I couldn't help but feel a strange admiration for these humans. They had taken the Galactic Council, an institution that had governed interspecies relations for 12,000 years, and forced its hand, without firing a single shot. Analyst Pyatt called Admiral Jorex as the chamber began to empty. "You seem to understand these humans better than anyone. What do you think they will do if we reject their terms?" I considered the question carefully. "Based on their historical patterns, Admiral, they will likely pursue one of two approaches: innovative circumvention or overwhelming force." "Meaning?" "They will either find a way to access what they want without our permission, or they will ensure the cost of denying them exceeds the benefit." Jorex's compound eyes narrowed. "You admire them." It wasn't a question, but I answered anyway. "I respect their adaptability, their unpredictability. In 3 centuries of Galactic Council history, no species has ever bypassed the standard development sequence, until now." Jorex finished grimly. As we prepared for the emergency session that would determine the future relationship between humanity and the galactic community, I couldn't shake one persistent thought: we had called them just humans, but perhaps that was the most profound misunderstanding of all. "Analyst Pyatt, are you sure about this?" asked Director Krell. I checked my travel documentation a final time. The Human Diplomatic Corps has specifically requested my participation in the cultural exchange program. It is an unprecedented opportunity. We stood in the Galactic Council diplomatic vessel, Harmony ready to rendezvous with the human flagship, Defiant. 3 cycles had passed since the standoff that had changed the Council's approach to Earth. Negotiations resulted in the Proxima Accords. Humanity gained recognition, access to specific tech, and the right to establish relations with Council species. In return, they would share their tech and abide by Council regulations. Not everyone was satisfied. "You realize they're using you," said High Counselor Vex Aaron, approaching with his entourage. His presence was required, though his resentment was clear. "Using me how, precisely?" I asked, maintaining professionalism. "They requested you because you validate their narrative, the lone voice who understood humans while the rest of us dismissed them." His eye stalks twisted. "It's propaganda, Pyatt." "Or perhaps they recognize genuine insight," countered Director Krell, surprisingly defending me. Pyatt's analysis proved remarkably accurate. Vex Aaron scoffed. "They hacked our systems and read his reports. They're playing to his vanity." "With respect, High Counselor," I said, "if understanding my perspective helped them formulate a peaceful first contact rather than a hostile one, isn't that beneficial to everyone?" Before he could respond, the vessel's communication system activated. Galactic Council Diplomatic Vessel Harmony, this is UES Defiant. We are in position for rendezvous. Welcome to Sol System. The journey, which normally took weeks, had required just days thanks to the human quantum fold drive technology they'd shared. Even with the modified engines, the speed was disorienting. Through the viewport, I saw Earth, a blue-green jewel. Despite my research, seeing it firsthand was more affecting than I'd anticipated. Prepare for docking procedures, announced the captain. All diplomatic personnel to reception stations. As we prepared, Ambassador Quell approached me. Her luminescent tentacles pulsed, indicating thoughtfulness. "Analyst Pyatt, a moment." When we had relative privacy, she continued, "I've reviewed your new assignment parameters. The humans have requested you join something called the Interspecies Cultural Understanding Initiative. It's unprecedented access." "I'm honored by the opportunity," I replied, cautiously. "I hope so," she added. "Whatever your personal feelings about humanity's approach, remember your primary allegiance." I nodded respectfully. "My loyalty to the Council remains absolute, Ambassador." She studied me with ancient eyes. "Does it? You've advocated for the humans consistently, even before their arrival. Some question where your sympathies truly lie." "I advocated for accurate assessment not preferential treatment," I clarified. "The scientific method demands we adjust our theories when evidence contradicts them. The evidence about human capabilities contradicted our theories." The docking procedure began, metal seals engaging, hisses. Ambassador Quell's final words stayed with me, "Remember, Pyatt. Understanding doesn't require agreement. Observe. Learn. But maintain perspective." The airlock cycled open, revealing a delegation of humans. At their center stood Admiral Takahashi, now in ceremonial attire. Beside her stood a tall, dark-skinned human male with an air of authority. High Counselor Vex Aaron, Ambassador Quell, distinguished representatives of the Galactic Council, Takahashi greeted formally. "On behalf of the United Earth Government, welcome to Sol System. This is President Marcus Okafor, Earth's elected leader." President Okafor stepped forward. "We are honored to host this historic delegation. Your journey represents the beginning of what we hope will be a productive and peaceful relationship between Earth and the galactic community." His voice carried a resonance that my translators struggled to fully capture, a warmth that seemed genuine despite the tense circumstances. High Counselor Vex Aaron performed the Council's formal greeting, his appendages moving in the precise pattern that communicated peaceful intent. "The Galactic Council acknowledges Earth's emergence onto the interstellar stage. May our shared future bring wisdom and prosperity." The diplomatic pleasantries continued as the delegation moved through the human vessel. I observed everything: the ship's design, the interactions between human crew members, the technological interfaces. As we walked, a young human female fell into step beside me. Analyst Pyatt? I'm Dr. Amara Okoye, Xenerology Lead 4. The unexpected arrival of mysterious ships. The Cultural Understanding Initiative. I've read all your reports on human development patterns. All 247 of them? I asked, echoing Takahashi's earlier claim. Dr. Okoye smiled. Actually, 249 now. Your latest assessments on human diplomatic strategies were particularly insightful. I felt a mixture of professional pride and discomfort. I merely applied standard analytical frameworks to observable data. And reached conclusions your colleagues dismissed, she noted. That requires intellectual courage. As we entered the reception hall, I was struck by how the humans had attempted to accommodate the council delegation's diversity, specialized atmospheric bubbles, gravity adjustment fields, tailored nutritional options. You've gone to considerable effort, I observed. Dr. Okoye nodded. We've been studying council species physiology from the observation post data. But we wanted everyone to feel welcome. Even after neutralizing those posts without permission? I couldn't resist asking. Her expression turned serious. Especially then. We need to demonstrate that our actions were about sovereignty, not hostility. President Okafor called for attention, standing before a large viewport that framed Earth perfectly. The symbolism wasn't subtle, but it was effective. Representatives of the Galactic Council, today marks a watershed moment, not just for humanity, but for interspecies relations throughout our shared galaxy. For too long, artificial classifications and predetermined development paths have limited the potential for true partnership. High Counselor Vex Aaron shifted uncomfortably beside me. The criticism of council policy was diplomatic, but unmistakable. Earth does not come to the galactic community seeking charity or patronage, continued Okafor. We come offering innovation, perspective, and the unique approach to problem-solving that our evolutionary path has produced. Ambassador Quell raised a luminescent tentacle. President Okafor, while we appreciate Earth's technological achievements, the Council's integration protocols exist to ensure compatible values across member species. Technological capability alone doesn't demonstrate readiness for full participation. A fair point, Ambassador, acknowledged Okafor. Which is why we have proposed the Cultural Understanding Initiative, not to bypass your protocols, but to demonstrate that humanity's values, justice, freedom, compassion, intellectual curiosity, align with the Council's foundational principles. And if we determine they don't align, challenged Vex Aaron. Admiral Takahashi stepped forward. Then we continue as sovereign entities, with diplomatic relations rather than integration. Earth doesn't need permission to exist in the galaxy, Counselor. We are seeking partnership, not approval. The tension in the room was palpable. Dr. Okoye whispered to me, "This is where your role becomes crucial, Analyst Pyatt. You understand both perspectives." Before I could respond, a commotion erupted at the entrance. A human officer rushed in, whispered urgently to Admiral Takahashi, and her face hardened. "President Okafor, we have a situation requiring immediate attention," she announced. Long-range sensors have detected multiple vessels emerging from faster-than-light travel at the edge of the system. Non-human, non-council configuration. The diplomatic pleasantries evaporated instantly. Identification, demanded President Okafor. Unknown. They are not responding to hails on any frequency. My counselor Vex Aaron turned to his security detail. Is this some human deception? A manufactured crisis to force cooperation? I assure you, Counselor, we are as surprised as you are, replied Takahashi sharply. These aren't Earth vessels. Admiral Jorex, who had been quietly observing, stepped forward. Display the sensor readings. The room's holographic projector activated.